Hi. So today I wanted to share with you some of the cons of my favorite beauty products because nothing is perfect, I think. No product is perfect. And I am a firm believer in if something that I love about a product could be the reason that you hate it or vice versa. So, I don't know, I thought this would be useful. So, number one, Fenty Matchstick. So I have a long history with this Fenty Matchstick in amber. I used it a really long time ago and I didn't like the color of it because I thought it was way too cool toned. But I don't know, maybe it was just my technique or also like getting closer to the correct colors in like my foundation and my concealer and that kind of stuff. I actually changed my mind and I do like it. The only thing that I don't love about this is number one, the size of it. I do wish it were a little bit smaller. I like, obviously, that it offers like a certain amount of product, but the stick itself, I wish it wasn't so thick. If it was just a little bit smaller, I think I would like it a little better. Sometimes I have a hard time creating certain precision with it just because it's a little bit chubby. And, precision with like, especially contour placement is really important, I think. So that's the first thing. That's not the end of the world though. My second criticism would be that it's a little thick, to be honest. I know that the matchsticks are supposed to be very versatile. Like, you should be able to use them as contours, bronzers, foundations, concealers, or highlighters or whatever. So, truthfully, I'm not super familiar with the other shades. I've only really used this one. I think I tried to use a highlight one like a long time ago and I just didn't really like it for that. Mostly because like the coverage is pretty thick. So if I was going to compare the coverage of this to the old stick that I really loved was the one by KKW Beauty. I really loved that formula. It was very sheer. You could build it up or tone it down. This feels just like it's just thicker. And it feels a little thicker on my face. I really like this color for the shadow specifically, but I do kind of wish that the formula wasn't so thick. That's that. Next up is so random. This is my LC Cosmetics Velvet Sponge. So I use this all the time to apply concealer underneath my eyes, mostly because like it has such a sharp tip, which is just the best because like all those deep set under eye people know that it's so difficult to get in there, So this is the only sponge besides my Givenchy sponge. But like, you see the difference? Like LC is just like, boop, just gets that point. You could like miss some stuff with this. I really love that about it. And it is relatively soft, which is nice. The only difference is if you compare it to like, is this like a Colourpop sponge or something? I don't know what this is. This one's wet or slightly damp and this one isn't. So I don't know if that makes a difference for you guys, but I really don't know if you can tell, but this is like quite porous. So the holes in it are kind of large, which I don't know, every once in a while it kind of like creates a little bit of that pattern, if that makes sense. When I go to like blend out, I really have to blend. It doesn't happen like too often, so it's really not the end of the world, but I do kind of wish that it wasn't, that like the holes in it weren't so large. Number two, this is ripped. Like I always rip it because the bottom of it is this like huge bottom like this and it legit looks like a butt plug and it's just gigantic. Like the sponge itself as a whole is just like, I guess you're supposed to be able to use that side for like your face, but it's just huge. I mean, I just think it would be too big for anyone's face. I guess I do prefer like more precision, so I tend to like smaller things. But yeah, anytime, like I have a bunch of backups of these. Anytime I pull out a new sponge, I literally rip off the bottom because I like never use that end. So that kind of feels like a waste. But I do like the sponge for like its precision. Those are my only two criticisms. Next up is actually sort of a recent favorite, the Very Valentino Light Lasting Perfecting Foundation. It has SPF 26. I fell in love with this foundation. I know I asked you guys like a while back, like, are you interested at all in luxury makeup? And people were like, fuck that, like, no, whatever. And I kind of like took the hint, but Valentino sent me this foundation and I used it and I just like immediately fell in love with it. I love it so much. The formula is so nice. It's like, I'm trying to think of like what I could compare it to. It's kind of liquidy, and it just like, sometimes with liquidy foundations, they just kind of like disappear, you know? This one doesn't. I use like a pump, maybe a pump and a half, maybe a pump and a half to do my whole face. And this provides like a really beautiful amount of coverage without it feeling really heavy. Like, you guys know that I kind of stopped wearing foundation and I was a little like hesitant to try foundation just because I like haven't really been wearing it, but I wanted to see like, can I do full glam, you know? So I used this and I was like, I absolutely love it. Like, it feels so lightweight on your skin. It really makes everything just look like, I'm wearing it today. Really just like flawless. And it's like a really nice in-between formula where I wouldn't say that it's matte or dewy. It's like satin. It's like natural. But yeah, I absolutely love it. And I'm the shade LN2, which is just like perfect for me. Like, it just so beautiful. I love it. Immediately after using it, I almost forgot that this was a cons video. The only thing that bothers me is Valentino, similar to the Givenchy. Wait, Givenchy Beauty, do they do that? I can't remember. They put perfume in all their makeup products. And truthfully, it doesn't last. Like, now that it's on my face, I don't smell it. But when I'm putting it on, it's just like, this is a nice scent if I were wearing it as a perfume, but I don't want it in my makeup, you know? I just don't like that. It also makes me feel like, I don't know, is the perfume in my foundation drying out my skin? You know? Probably. But God, do I love this foundation. It's so nice. And it does smell nice. Anyway, that is my con about this foundation. Okay, next up are the cream gel liners from Colourpop. My favorite eyeliners, mostly because of the colors. But what I love about these is that they're like unbelievably affordable and they're super creamy, which I love. And they have literally any color you could possibly want. My only con with these is it kind of feels like the packaging doesn't keep them super airtight. So if you have one that you haven't used for a while and it's just kind of been sitting, they will dry out. They are cheap, so they're pretty easy to replace. And I can't tell you exactly like what the timeline is because I feel like I use the same ones over and over and over again, then I end up going through them. And most of the time, it doesn't get to the point where they've dried out. But sometimes that does happen where I'm like, oh, I haven't used this color in a while, and I'll pick it up, and it's just lost like all of its moisture. It's no longer creamy. And then when you go to try to like draw with it, it just breaks over and over and over again, which is kind of disappointing. So there's that. I do wish that there was some kind of like, I don't know, modification to the packaging perhaps, because it does sort of feel like over time but maybe that's normal. I don't know. I've had that problem with old eyeliners from Makeup Forever, from Marc Jacobs, but yeah. I also kind of feel like some of you have commented that yours dry out pretty quick. So yeah, that would be my one con for these guys, but I really do love them, so I still stand by them. Okay, my next one is my soap that I use for my brows. So this is the Dr. Bronners Bar of Soap, which, you know, I always use for my brows. I have yet to ever find anything that will hold my brows as well as this soap does. My one downside to it is if you like spritz it with a little too much water or get it a little too wet, pick up a little too much product, if you just apply a little bit too much to your brows, you can get like a little bit of a white halo, you know? Who recommended this? I think it was on a TikTok of mine. And people with darker hair were suggesting the Black African soap. I want to say that's what it is. I'll link it. But it's like essentially a black soap that is like the same. You just whatever. But it works for dark hair, so you don't get that like white cast from soap in your brows. But yeah, occasionally I'll go like a little too hard with it. And then in certain lighting, you can kind of see this like halo of white, which really sucks. So there's that. Actually, love Dr. Bronner's, but there are other bars of soap out there that are good for brows. And if you guys have any recommendations, I would love to hear it because I would be interested. I mean, I've been using the same bar of soap for years. Occasionally I replace the bag that it's in, because like, ew, you know what I mean? I kind of feel like I need to branch out. Okay, next up, Auric Glow Lust. Listen, I love this so much, okay? I use it all the time. I would say for like regular everyday makeup, Jesus, what are you trying to do right now? This is my highlighter. Yeah, it's mostly my highlighter. I was gonna say I use it for other things, but I use it for highlight. I use it to highlight my cheekbones, my whatever. I usually just kind of do like a general C shape, you know? But I also always use it for my inner corner, and I absolutely love it. It's like the most amazing. My only downside for this guy is that it is quite large. It's pretty big. You're never gonna go through this shit, you know what I mean? I had the old Morganite and then I bought the new Morganite, and now that I have these two, I'm just never gonna go through it. So like, I'm not gonna complain about having so much of a product, but when I wanna travel, this is just like, it's heavy, you know, it's not something that I wanna travel with. I do think Sam mentioned like a while back that she was considering doing like travel size ones, which would be more like of an affordable price point for some people, and just amazing to have a travel size, because like I'm going to New York like in a bit and I want to bring it, but it's just so heavy, and trust me, my suitcase is already heavy enough, okay? I don't need any help with that. So that's my one downside, is that like it's just heavy, it's hard to bring with, and I want to bring with. Other than that, it's perfect. Okay, my next one of the products that I used today for today's makeup look, About Face Matte Fluid Eye Pants. I love these so much. I fell in love with them when I got them. She has all the colors, They're super versatile. I used it as just an eyeshadow base today, so you can't really like see it now, but the whatever green hue you're seeing of this, it's under there. And then I built up shadows on top, and that's what it's so amazing for. So good for that, okay? I believe these are waterproof as well. They're gonna stay. They're not going anywhere. They're easy to blend on top of. They're incredible. Love them. My only downside for this guy is I wish that it was like a little bit more, like ever so slightly more liquidy, because I always want to grab, because she has so many good colors, I always want to grab these to do like detail work, and they're not the best for that because the formula is like ever so slightly too thick. So if you're using like an eyeliner brush, something like tiny with precision, and you're trying to like do detail, it's just like a little thick, so when you put it down, you end up with that kind of like thin strip, and like it bunches over on the sides. I don't know if that makes any sense. Hopefully you can visualize that. But you may have noticed that actually when I did my dragonfly, butterfly, cicada wings tutorial a few videos ago. I used a bunch of these, and I kind of had that problem. So they are great. They are super versatile, but if you want to use them for like detail work like that, it's going to take a little bit more work. Just saying. Okay, next up is, well, I'm using this as sort of a placement because I can't find my Tarte Shape Tape right now, but my Tarte Shape Tape concealer is my OG all time. I know I can always count on it concealer, okay? It's full coverage. It's not too matte for my skin. I know some people think it's a little bit too matte for them, but I can always rely on it. Anytime I'm like, I don't want to mess around with like any other kind of concealer, that's what I use. Rose Ink is very similar in that way. And they also both have the problem that drives me crazy. When you pull out, I wish I could find my Shape Tape, the fucking thing, it gets gunky so fast. It gets all over the place, like all like built up in here, around the wand, like all the way up. Like, look, can you see inside there? You guys, it's disgusting. It's so awful. It's the exact same thing with Shape Tape. And then when you put it back down, you can just like hear it. It's just like, you know, horrible. And you can just see it all explode. And then you twist it, and you close it, and you can see it seeping out. It's horrible. And I would actually say that the classic Tarte Shape Tape is worse than this one. But that's just so annoying because it gets really, really messy. Then I'm constantly cleaning it. I feel like I'm wasting a ton of product. And then it just makes me feel like, ugh, Like by the time, when it starts to get like a little bit older, I'm like, fuck it, I'll just throw it out and replace it, you know? Which is such a waste. So that's very annoying. Other than that, love, okay? Love. But the packaging, so irritating. I wish that they could fix that. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope it was helpful in some way. Let me know if you feel similarly about these products, if you've tried them, or if you are like, what are you talking about? Also, let me know if you want to see more videos like this. I could also do the pros of products I don't like. But I don't know how many products I don't like here, you know? I don't really hold on to them. I can try. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. If this video isn't, this makeup look, if this isn't up already, it will be up. Don't worry.